Ladies and gentlemen, we finally have a brand new Zelda game coming out for the Nintendo Switch. What's going on? I'm Austin John, and ladies and gentlemen, The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening, originally for the Game Boy, and I have been playing on my Game Boy Advance SP, is now being remade for the Nintendo Switch. We found out about this at the Nintendo Direct on February 13th, the day before Valentine's Day, and well, we were also treated to a trailer of Mario Maker 2 and Tetris Battle Royale, which I am shamefully very obsessed with. But most importantly, we get a new Zelda game. Well, it's an old game. It's a new old game. New old game, Link's Awakening. For those of you who did not play the original, it takes place outside of Hyrule. There is no Zelda and there is no Triforce. Well, you should be used to there being no Triforce. There wasn't one in Breath of the Wild. That was weird, right? Like, no one even mentioned that. There was no Triforce in that game whatsoever. And I think we should take a look at the trailer. At the very beginning of the trailer, we're treated to a very similar cinematic intro of Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening, originally for the Game Boy, which involves Link being washed up on a shore of this strange new world. We see these beautiful waves crashing in, and then we see a very small boat. Spoilers, Link is on that boat. Look, it's Link on the boat. At this point, once we saw the boots and the tunic and those pasty young boy legs, we knew it was Link 100%. And then it's Link, obviously. Lightning strikes. We see a beautiful mountain with a giant egg on top and some clouds around it. And we see Link on some driftwood and the remains of his boat, and treated to The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening. It's very important to note that the original Link's Awakening had a lot of enemies and characters from the Mario universe inside of the game. At first, people were like, wait, why is there a chain chomp here? Well, there was a chain chomp in the original. In fact, at the very first opening scene, wow, that is nowhere near bright enough. Okay, so because that's not bright enough, I decided to load up the Game Boy player on the GameCube. And as we see right here, this is pretty much the beginning of the world, and we have the same Kuko next to the house that we woke up in, except it's beautiful. There's also like this really nice focusing filter going on, that the very top of the screen and the very bottom are a little bit blurrier, so your eyes are drawn to the center of focus a little bit. And then we head over to the screen to the left, and you can see that there's a wild chain chomp. And yes, that's just part of the game. Also, the adorable little fox, he's totally here as well. The foxes are adorable. Do not hit the foxes. There might be a dog. I don't know. Also, the chain chomp can't hurt you. Don't know what that's about. It can't hurt you. Pretty neat. This game actually has several old Mario characters, or enemies, I should say, in the game. This chain chomp, he's just a little pupper. There's also all this grass here, and for the people who have only played Breath of the Wild, you're supposed to cut grass in order to get items and hearts and stuff. Even the butterflies that we see on screen, we can see that they've rendered those in beautiful 3D. The random little white flowers, they're popping up all along. Dope stuff. Dope stuff. We also get to see a larger image of Link, and he's holding a Hylian shield, which is, I believe, different from what you have in-game. I mean, maybe it is, but this one definitely seems like it has this indent like the older Zelda games, and maybe they just adapted it to being like the newer Zelda shield. Link also kind of looks like this emotionless little doll, which is pretty interesting. Now, I believe this game takes place in a dream of Link's, in which he's washed up on shore, everything else like that. That's part of the reason that there's no Zelda or Triforce. In the very opening areas of the game, you're heading down to a beach to retrieve your lost items because, you know, you were shipwrecked and everything. Let's head down here. Here we are on the beachfront with the... Okay, we found the area. So we have the Octorok here, we have the trees showing up, and then to the right, we have the sign and one of the spiky boys. Sea urchins. That's what those are. Those are sea urchins. They don't pose much of a threat as long as you have a sword. In this game, when you use a shield on an Octorok shooting at you, it doesn't reflect off. It's not a thing. It just like to the ground. Or it hits you and you totally miss. Professional gamer right here, everyone. But yeah, you actually need to attack them with your sword. You don't have the item bounce back mechanic. And it looks like they're not bringing that in, so they're keeping it truer to the original instead of the modern adaptation. However, you can just hold your shield up and just run into things and you're fine. Also, blue rupees count as 1. The next scene that we get is also still on the beach, just a little bit to the right of where we were, so I'm pretty sure all of these screenshots are just from the beginning of the game. Here we have this house over here, who's home to the crocodile boy. He loves bananas. And outside the house, like, it's really, really brought to life. Oh, sorry, my mouse was on the screen. That probably drove some people nuts. And then it's also weird because, you know, you're playing a game that was screen by screen. So, like, you're getting a little bit of this screen and a little bit of this screen, but not the lower part of this screen. So, they're kind of reimagining the proportions a little bit in my eyes. Next clip. Okay, so here's the castle a little bit later in the game. So we have some clips from later parts of the game. Aww. It's the girl. What's her name? Marlin? I think it's Marlin. I actually didn't play Link's Awakening. The Game Boy right now is my current progress of the game. More dungeon shots. So, oh, here we go. More Goombas in sort of the 2D area. By the look of this game is fairly done. It probably just needs like some polishing, some bug testing, things like that. So we know it's coming out this year. We don't know exactly when. Now let's think about the timeline here. They have Mario Maker coming out in summertime. They have a couple other games slated for late summer release. We have Pokemon and Animal Crossing coming out this year, which those are new entries in the franchise. Pokemon is going to be huge this year. They don't want to pad that with too much stuff. I see this as being, I want to say August, September. Sounds like a good time because this is just a remake of an old game. This is essentially the same thing as them. No, I mean, it's much better than them doing, you know, Twilight Princess HD or something better, or something else like that. This is a real reimagining of a very old. This is the Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee of Zelda. That's what this is. This is a supplemental game because we have the beautiful, beautiful Pokemon that's going to be coming out. We hope it's going to be beautiful. Last year, we had the Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, and we had Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. This year, we're going to have Pokemon 8th Gen as the main game, then you're also going to have this, and we're also going to have Animal Crossing. Now, in the Direct, we didn't hear anything about Animal Crossing, or Pokemon. That's fine. I feel like we're focusing more on the early part of the year. From the investors meeting, there's still so much time that they're not selling Switches on the beginning part of the year when they were just cramming it all for the holiday season. I feel like this year they're going to try to space it out a little bit more, stretch it out, as they say in cinema. Well, reality TV shows, to be more exact. Now, Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening was not a super popular title. NES Zelda had 9 million copies, Zelda 2 had 6.8, Link's Awakening had 6.05. A Link to the Past is over at 12 million, Ocarina of Time 12 million, Majora's Mask 6.36, so it's about the same amount of sales as Majora's Mask. Wow, half of that was from the 3DS release. So this game was only at 3 million before the 3DS version came out. Hey look, Oracle of Seasons of Ages are both around 3, and don't have a re-release. We may be seeing that coming up in the future. Wind Waker's at 6 because it needed that supplemental 3 from the Wii U. Four Swords did horrible. I own Four Swords, have not even played it. Wow, Minish Cap did really bad. 1.76. That is the worst selling Zelda game. Breath of the Wild is now the best selling Zelda game of all time at 13.29, beating Link to the Past and Ocarina of Time. But yeah, Link's Awakening and then half of that was the DX version, half of that was the regular between the Game Boy and Game Boy Color. That was a 5-year difference. But the important part to note here is this game has already been ported, technically, from the Game Boy to the Game Boy Color with the DX version. Oh, A Link to the Past only did that good because of the SNES sales. I don't count that. That doesn't count. Well, the SNES Classic. You know what I meant. Also, Phantom Hourglass and Spirit Tracks is considered the same game. Why is it considered the same game? Is there something I should know about you? Huh? Spirit Tracks and Phantom Hourglass? But the original release of Link's Awakening on the Game Boy before the DX release on the Game Boy Color had 3.83 million sales. To put that in perspective, there were more sales of Link's crossbow training. So guys, I want to know what you think about Link's Awakening coming to the Nintendo Switch 2019. Are you happy because it's a Zelda game that maybe you didn't play and you want to experience it? Are you upset because it's not a big, lush 3D game? Are you happy that it's just not on the 3DS? Because that's me. I'm just happy it's not on the 3DS, and we're getting a nice Switch Zelda game. I'm excited for it. I'm gonna be doing a whole bunch of tips and tricks, tutorials on the game. I should probably play the original between now and then. Leave a comment down below if you're new to the channel. Be sure to subscribe, turn on notifications. Until next time, Austin John out.